Tom, thank you for joining me here at Action Reloaded. It is brilliant to have you guys here. So just to start with the basics, how are you guys today?
Doing pretty damn good. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good. Got you two guys on, so the day's even better.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
Yeah, I've got like a whole load of questions, a whole load of notes that I've wrote down, and at the time they look perfect, but now I'm looking at them thinking "Uh, it's going to be an experience. We're just going to roll with the punches.
Let's go.
Sounds
Let's
good.
do
Bring
it.
it.
Love it.
So I'm gonna like start with each of you, and then we're going to meet in the middle, and then we're going to terminal list it up. So we're just going to do like a quick background. So I'll go with Tom. So Tom, you started out, and then you were like, you've worked with some of the best. Like you've worked on The Punisher, you've worked with Clint Eastwood, Stallone. What's it like working with all the heavy hitters in Hollywood?
It's a little surreal sometimes. And you mentioned two of them, but I love John Bernthal. But let's start with Clint Eastwood and Stallone. You know, I grew up watching those movies with my dad. So especially the Clint Eastwood stuff. All of his my dad was a huge Eastwood fan. So I had worked on American Sniper. I had coordinated motion capture units for his shows, and then I finally got to coordinate Richard Jewell and work side by side with him. And honestly, just one of the best, nicest, and most generous people in the business. And I will say it's probably one of the only. I don't get starstruck. We're around these people all the time, consider them friends. That's one of the only times I've ever been kind of starstruck is sitting there going, I'm working with Clint Eastwood.
That would
So
definitely.
it's yeah, it's a little trippy. And a lot of that comes from my memories as a kid watching stuff with my dad.
Do you have a favorite Eastwood movie?
I was really partial when I was young to the Any Which Way movies because it had the orangutan in them.
Yeah.
So I think we wore those VHSs out. I would make my dad watch them with me all the time. But you know, my dad was a military guy. He didn't baby me. So I was watching them all. I'd watch Dirty Harry with him. So mom didn't always approve, but if I had to pick, I'd say just as a child, the Any Which Way But Loose, Any Which Way You Can, hold fond places in my heart.
And then what about Stallone? What was it like working with him? Because just like you with Clint, I grew up
Mhm.
with Stallone.
Yeah, and I mean he's an icon. First Blood's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just so well done, and I got to fight him. Funny enough, on a Bollywood movie. So I just worked with him again recently on Tulsa King, going out the day play on that. But this silly, weird Bollywood movie, he was only there for 4 hours, and there's like 25 of us fighting him. But it's awesome. He just starts talking, and you hear that very distinct voice, and you're like, "Fucking Rambo," you know. So it's pretty awesome.
And then you mentioned John Bernthal, the Punisher. What was it like working with John? Honestly, he's one person I have always wanted to interview. Him and Frank Grillo, but
Mhm.
they really look intimidating.
Yeah, um, John is one of the realest people you ever met. He's a dude and loves hanging out with the stunt team, loves just going out to have dinner. We'd go have cigar nights in New York with the stunt team and a few of the actors, and just one of the most genuine, honest, and just hilariously cool people you can ever be around. I text him every now and then, congratulate. He got his Emmy award and just his all of his family stuff and his podcast. I'm just so happy for his success.
And then what initially made you sort of want to get into like the stunt side of life?
I started doing live shows like at theme
Oh,
parks. And the first one I did was just for a summer job. Friends of mine were doing it, and I had an athletic background. Went out there, got in the show. It was the Batman stunt show at Six Flags. So I'm playing a bad guy, just a thug. and then ended up getting asked if I wanted to go do the show in California. That was in Texas when I started. So next summer, I was like, well, screw it. I guess I'm doing this. That was a lot of fun. So I made the live show rounds for a few years, and then ended up getting my SAG card in 1999. Got Taft Hartley as an actor on a movie actually. So the live show route was great because it was on the job training, getting paid, getting to learn how to fight, high fall, ride motorcycles, drive cars, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Free stunt school. You couldn't beat
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Paid stunt school.
Even better.
Yeah. And a lot of those people I started with, like the one guy in particular, Hito Koda, who's a huge coordinator, does Stranger Things. He's still one of my best friends to this day. And we started doing those live shows together.
That's unreal. And you're still keeping the connections, which I think is really good. Because
Mhm.
usually, people come, people go, but then you always keep the ones that are dear, near and dear, you know?
Yeah, you have to in this business. It's so crazy, and it's one of the things Chris and I get on so well. And this show was a dream project because you go overseas and you don't want to get stuck with knuckleheads
Yeah.
for months on end. And we really leaned on each other and had a great time both personally and professionally. And it's all about those relationships,
I
even with
leaned on Tom a lot more than he leaned on me. Let's be fair.
Um, Chris, on to you. I've got like a short sort of little section here. So there's something I'm confused about. And see, while we were prepping for this and stuff, I just Google searched you, right? And was looking at the images, like squinting and all that shit, right? So you were Steven Seagal's stunt double, right?
I doubled Steven Seagal for 2 movies. That is correct. Yes, I
Could
look
could,
so much like him. That's how could I not?
uh, could you walk me through it?
Um, yeah. So though I'm from Utah, and there was the first time I doubled him, they were filming a Steven Seagal movie in Utah, and at the time I had not really worked in any major Hollywood production. And this was kind of a lower budget thing. It was going to go straight to some kind of streaming service, DVD release, and they needed a double for Steven Seagal. Well, Steven requested a double because they had a double for him, but he saw my stuff, my reel, and he's like, "This guy is the only guy that can double me." And that's they reached out to me and said, "Steven requested you," and I was like, "I don't even know how he got my name." But I ended up doubling him for the entirety of that movie, and he asked me back for another movie shortly after.
That's unreal. So in Steven's head, to a degree, if Chris was sick and you were sick, he could have done Jurassic World.
In Steven's head, yeah, I think that's real to him. Yeah.
Be such a different movie.
I looked up the movies and it was Sniper Special Ops and Code of Honor. So now I'm
Yes.
gonna make it my mission to find you in these movies.
It be surprisingly easy.
I don't know. I could see it. I could see it. I guess
If you squint and turn off the lights.
Yeah.
and turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chris, how did you get started in the world of stunts? What's piqued your love for it?
Uh, I grew up watching Jackie Chan movies and Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, I want to do whatever that is. And growing up in Utah, I didn't know anybody in the industry, but I tried to kind of roadmap my life like Jackie Chan. So me and my best friends, we met in karate. We were 13, and we'd go out. My friend had a camcorder, and we'd make our own fight scenes, and we would go home and we would study Jackie Chan movies literally frame by frame and try to recreate some of these things. And we didn't think they ever used pads or anything. So it was kind of like we would all go out and try to find the gnarliest wreck we could do and then kind of create some fight sequence around it, and learned that way. We took the camcorder footage and uploaded it to the computer, or and used Pinnacle 8 to cut it together. And yeah, me and my best friends were still all stunting today, kind
That's,
of doing it that way.
and then how did the opportunity to become Chris Pratt's stunt double land in your lap?
Well, I'm the luckiest person that I know, and it really was like winning the lottery. I had built up a good reel in Utah. We had worked with so many smaller productions in Utah, who allowed us, me and my friends, to kind of create the action for their shows, right? And we didn't know a lot of what we were doing, but we had a lot of heart and did a lot of uh, big stuff. And I was unpolished at the time, but I had a good enough reel that at the time they were doing Avengers Infinity War, they were looking for a double for Chris Pratt that could do a lot of what I could do, because I'm a big dude, and I can flip and I can fight like a smaller dude. I can kind of do Hong Kong style action choreo, um, almost as well as a lot of the smaller guys. And so they were looking for something like that. And I don't know how they found my reel. There's a long story about that, but um, I got the Monique Ganderton reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, do you got any footage of you doing any wire work?" And I got my friends together. We filmed something that night. I sent it off to her. Didn't hear from her for weeks, and just crickets. I was like, "All right," she hated it. A couple weeks later, message again. "Hey, can you do this fight sequence?" And it's two of the best stunt performers in the world doing this incredible fight choreo. I was like, "All right, cool." So I got my friends together, did the choreo, sent it off again. Didn't hear from her for weeks, and I thought again, all right, she hated it. And anyway, cut to a couple weeks later, she calls me, and I never told her that I lived in Utah at the time, but she said, "Hey, can you be to this fitting at 12 o'clock tomorrow?" And the fitting was in LA. And I was living in my parents' basement. My wife was pregnant. My car was not going to make that ride. And so I begged my mom. I was like, "Hey, can I use your car? It's the only reliable car I know of." And I drove all through the night, slept on my buddy's couch for 2 hours, and woke up in the morning. They didn't even tell me what it was for. And so I didn't know what I was walking into. I go to this nondescript warehouse, get through several layers of security. And as soon as I walk in, the walls are just lined with all the Marvel characters and all their costumes. And I'm like, "What is this?" And they lead me back, and they have me try on Chris's Guardians of the Galaxy 2 costume, and it fit perfectly. They're like, "We don't have to do any adjustments. Wow, you're like the perfect sizes." All right, great. They took a few pictures, and they're like, "All right, great, that's it." And I left, and I was like, "All right." I went back to my friend's house, slept on the couch for a couple hours, drove right home. And the next day, I get a call from Monique Anderton, who's the assistant, or the I think she was a stunt coordinator on that one. And she called me up. She said, "Hey, can you be in Georgia January 3rd to start on Avengers Infinity War?" I was like, "Of course I can." And I worked for a year and a half as a part of the core team on Infinity War straight into Endgame. And it was an incredible experience. Got to learn from the best of the best. Got to meet Thom. There was days where we had 200 stunt performers. It was an incredible experience.
That's
I'd say it's
amazing.
more than luck because I got to see his audition. Mo's a good friend of mine, and then Daniel Stevens, a lot of people involved. And I remember when he sent in the audition tape because they were like, "Hey, you got to see this guy. So don't blow it off, dude. You earned that job.
I'm like, dumb.
You rocked it out."
And are you the only guy, Chris, to actually double Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth?
I think so.
Uh,
I wasn't Chris Hemsworth's main double, but yes, I did double Hemsworth.
that's unreal. And then you got to work with him on Extraction, which was it was a really good movie.
That was an incredible movie. Our stunt coordinator turned second unit director on Infinity War and Endgame. Sam Hargrave directed that movie and brought me along.
It was brilliant. Fingers crossed for a third on that, so fingers crossed.
Mhm.
Fingers crossed.
So we're going to move on to the terminal list because we all love the terminal list. Can't get enough of that. Honestly, can't. It replays in my head quite a lot. Um, it's really bad for you though. Like I binged it. I binged Terminal List, then I've done Dark Wolf, and then I've done Terminal List again. And sometimes I find myself like clearing the house, just what the frig am I at here? It overtakes you. So how did you guys get involved with the Terminal List?
Chris was there
uh,
first. Go ahead.
yeah, for me, I mean, I got involved because after Avengers, Chris, started bringing me around, and so I worked on the first season as his double, helped build out the action sequences along with our military advisor, and rolled right into to Dark Wolf as well.
So on
Yeah.
the first one was, how would you put it? See, it's really hard to compare them because Dark Wolf, I think, ups it a bit, ups the first one a bit, but the first one had so much great action in it that was so purposeful. Um, so I'm going to assume you done all the dangerous stuff.
I wouldn't assume that actually. Chris Pratt is an incredible. I keep telling people he would make an incredible stuntman if he wasn't a superstar. So a lot of times, what I do is I set up the action for him, kind of work out the kinks, and he would come in and knock it out of the park. I mean, he still does that.
So would you
He's
do
an
like a
incredible
first run
performer.
through?
Yeah, so I mean, help build the action, rehearse it, pre-visit, bring him in, train him up on it, and knocks it out of the park every time.
Okay, before we move on, because I'm going to switch back and forth between them because I love them both. What was your favorite episode in the first se or the Terminal List? Just the first season, as you would probably say.
Man, that's a hard question. I don't know. That's a hard question. I think episode 5, where he's on the run after the big hit in San Francisco. He blows up a car on American soil. He's on the run. The FBI's after him, and he takes off into the wilderness. I think that was my favorite one, written by Max Adams, kind of an ode to Rambo: First Blood.
Yeah.
I really loved that one.
Hmm.
And then Tom, I believe you've come along for Dark Wolf.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not work on the main show, the first season, but I was a huge fan. So when I got the call to get involved with Dark Wolf, which was through Kat Samick, and then Chris, I Kat calls me first because we have a mutual friend, Clay Fontenot, who doubles Denzel Washington, and he recommended me for this. And so Kat gives me a call like out of the blue, and I'm like, that's one of my favorite shows. And she's like, great, we're gonna line up an interview for you. So I get on a Zoom, but first I see Chris at the gym, and I'm like, bro, I just talked to Kat. I'm like, and so he backed me 100%, told me about everyone. We had a great talk, and then he was on the Zoom also, so it made it comfortable. There was a nice little kind of linchpin drawing everyone together right there, and it's honestly been one of my favorite experiences ever on anything. The people involved with this, everyone always says the joke about, oh, you're part of the family. I mean, this show exemplifies it.
Yeah, and in
Everyone.
fact, that was a big part of bringing Tom in. Is there was a lot of big stunt coordinators thrown around to bring in, and we really wanted somebody that would fit into the family. They really wanted somebody that could help uh, build out the action in the way that we wanted to continue. And as soon as Tom's name was brought up, it was like a light bulb went off. So easy choice.
Yeah, not going to come in and screw up the vibe.
Just to sort
And
of
I'll back him up. That episode 5 of the first season was Chef's Kiss. That was my favorite one too. And like I said earlier, First Blood, one of my favorite movies. And that harkens to it, and it was just a cool feeling watching that episode.
And what I found awesome about it was just the sort of end sequence as well, when you automatically think, how's he going to get out of this one? And then he just blows the side of the cliff.
Yeah, big old tumble down the hill.
Yeah, it's
Surprise!
unreal.
No one's getting out.
Yep, we're all gonna die.
Did you read the books by any chance, or
Who
I read,
hasn't? They're
yeah,
incredible books.
yeah. Jack is such a good writer.
Mhm.
would Jack be present on set like throughout to like advise? Yeah.
He's not there full time, but he's there a lot, enough to where he has a lot of input. And even when he's not there, he's talking to Dave DiGilio and Jared and Max. They're in constant communication. And then he's very involved when he's there. In fact, we got to hire stuntman Jack Carr out in Budapest. I don't know if you caught it, but in the tunnel sequence, we killed Jack.
I did
Mhm.
not know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
continuing a tradition.
right after the water bomb goes off under the front SUV, he's the first one that pops out, and then Luke Hemsworth shoots him, and then Ronald Lee finishes him off, and he drops
No, I
dead.
missed that. I'm gonna have to go and do a deep rewatch.
Yeah, so Chris and I, that was pretty exciting, and he was like a kid in a candy store. He literally came up to us. He was like, "It's always been a dream to be a stuntman." He goes, and we're like, "Let's do it." So we put him in a shot, hired him, had him on a stunt contract, gave him a stunt adjustment at the end, and he did great. He got shot, he died, and it was pretty damn cool getting
Yeah.
to boss him around for a little bit.
So going on to like Dark Wolf, what was it like being on set? Because from what I've heard is you guys like rehearse on location. You don't you don't go to like warehouses, contained spaces. You like to do everything on location for like sort of the real vibe. Is that correct?
There was a little bit of a mix. So we had a stunt gym that we had access to, but the only thing we really did there was rehearsing the tall Klaus fight, where the big German dude,
Yeah.
and pre-visiting that. Everything else, we had like a giant parking lot that we would use for the bridge sequence, the tunnel sequence, and it was large enough we could map it out to scale, put all the cars out there so you had the obstacles to deal with,
Hmm.
and it really made it worthwhile. And in fact, the tunnel sequence and the hostel sequence, we would start there and then go to the actual locations to finish rehearsing and pre-vising. So
Hmm.
production, locations department, everyone was very supportive of really making sure we had what we needed to make that just dialed in as tight as possible.
And like
Yeah.
you don't
As soon as locations became available, that's where we wanted to be to just work out kinks in the space.
that's actually a really good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I would never have like I would have been like doing like a little control warehouse, but no, you're right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I
And
suppose
I'll tell you one of the things that was awesome is so our production designer Tomas Voth, we got to go. Chris and I both sat in the production design area while they were in CAD, their computer aided design, and we were actively helping them design the apartment for the Tiles fight sequence.
that's
So we were involved from the very creation of that, which just helped immensely. So we knew exactly from the beginning where tables and couches, and they were like, "Well, what do you want here?" Like, well, let's put a table right there. What about over here? Well, that's going to be the door we go out. So just the level of accessibility and collaboration with all the departments is just amazing and kind of unheard of.
and what makes I think like the terminal less sort of stand out is there's a large scale stunt in every episode. So what's that like coordinating that? Because essentially, you have seven or eight big stunts that you need to knock out, and you kind of know you have to up the next one. Do you know what I mean? Like they always get bigger. So what's it like knowing you're working on like a TV show and you have to keep getting these stunts and all bigger? Is it for me it'd be frustrating. I'd find it like such a melt.
Well, it really starts with the writers. You know, All those sequences are built out in the script first. Shout out to Max Adams and Dave DiGilio and Jared Shaw and the writers for putting those pieces together. And then for Tom and I, we really just tried to follow those stories and tried to up the ante. And thank goodness we had two of us, because as things
Hmm.
progressed and as things got bigger and things got more involved, we were able to kind of leapfrog action sequences. So while I was, working the tunnel sequence, Tom was working other sequences, like we were just constantly leapfrogging, like, and also collaborating with each other, checking in and basically, our brain melds like, hey, what am I missing here? Like, how can I make this better? And really lovely experience being able to do that. I actually can't imagine coordinating myself, or it'd be difficult. It'd be a lot to do as one person, I think.
It's such a packed show, and we got to where we had our own kind of teams. So Chris was teamed up with Jared Shaw. So Jared would handle the tactical, Chris the stunts. They'd merge everything together, and then I was with Max Adams, our other writer producer. We were Team Silverback because we're both big dudes. Um, but it was cool because what would happen is Max and I'd be over here putting this together. Chris and Jared would be on set, and or we'd be on set the next day. They're over here, and there was a lot of crisscross. And if Max and I got to finish, we were excited because now we go over and see what Chris and Jared have worked out over on their portion, and it's cool because you get to kind of shift your brain, play a little bit of catch up because these are very involved sequences. But it was really cool getting to really kind of concentrate over here and then go in and just help out over here and
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
watch the magic that they were putting together. You know, throw out some bullshit. Hopefully, it sticks to the wall. Then, but the four of us collaborated so well.
Yeah. It was a very best idea wins kind of environment where we were all just trying to make the best product possible, and the egos were divorced from that. It was a really lovely experience.
Yeah.
And then recently in Dark Wolf, we've seen the episode, what you've mentioned, the sequence in the tunnel,
Hmm.
and then we've seen the next episode where um Edwards basically is on the hunt for his betrayer, and you get that really cool sort of tight-knit John Wick sort of hotel fight. Were you guys involved in that then? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
heavily.
very much so. Yeah.
What was it like designing that? That really got me. Like that was one of I was like, that is the brilliant way to open an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one where we needed to find the location as early as possible, because that's not something that we could really design away from the environment, because the environment plays such a vital role in the relationships between, where the shooters are coming from and where our guys are going. And so that was one that was almost exclusively mapped out in the space.
Mhm.
um, it was a great way to work.
Yeah, and it was so fantastic because that was one where that Chris and Jared were keying while Max and I were over doing the towel fight.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, like I said, we're jumping back and forth. So they're getting all the stunt players ready, and then once that was done, brought the actors in. And they were so gung ho to be a part of the rehearsal process, then which made it work because otherwise that could have fallen on its face. There was so much involved with that
100%.
sequence, and both Taylor and Rona Lee were there anytime we asked them to be, and we're just putting 100% in and just enjoying it. I mean, really in fact, helping build out the scene. Taylor had some
100%.
fantastic ideas and
Yeah,
and and wish lists that he wanted to do in there.
yes. Could not have done that without Taylor. He knows his character so well. I just He had been trained so well and just constantly working and drilling and drilling. And yeah, the actors were key to making that, to fleshing that out and actually making it a piece that's memorable.
Yeah, well, it definitely was. It was the best way you could have started an episode, especially when like I'm a huge action fan. So when you see an episode open like that, it basically opens with like a finale essentially, and it blows
Yeah.
it away. Um, but see, going on with scenes like that, do you also have to like collaborate with like sort of like the military advisors to say, is this possible to do? Will it stay within this world, or does it? Because you know the way they're really like the realism to them is there, like the tactics and all that. So do you have to sort of go along with them and just be like, here, does this actually fit into the world, or are we going a bit out of it?
It's nonstop collaboration. This show is very unique in that. I've worked on so many shows where we have military sequences. You got your advisor there, and what usually happens is they'll step in and be like, "Oh, you should hold the gun like this or do this over here." No, Ray Mendoza, Jared Shaw, and Max Adams were involved with everything, top to bottom, and it was really refreshing because Chris and I were not military. We both have family that are, but that's not our expertise. So we were very happy to take a little step back, let them choreograph the tactics, where they're going. Because I mean, anything I'm going to put together is Hollywood experience. And as we love to say on the show, it's 80% real with 20% Hollywood hot sauce poured on top. And we want it to be realistic. We want it to be visceral and nasty. We want veterans to watch it and just be like, "Yep, that's right." So everything we did, whatever stunts and action Chris and I put together, was in direct response to what our military leaders served us.
Yeah, our guiding mantra was authenticity. We started with what's real first, real tactics, real just how do you survive this? Like the hostile sequence, every bit, constantly asking, hey, this section, does this bump on you? Like, is this something that would happen in real life? How does somebody what happens to somebody when a crash grenade, goes off right next to them? Like, how does that feel? How do we interpret that and show that on screen? So yes, our tactical advisors were absolutely key.
In fact, bringing up the crash grenade, I don't know if you saw this. There was a comment on social media that caught my attention the other day about that sequence, and I loved it because it's just this little detail. And it was a guy who was an operator, and he said his favorite thing about the sequence was right when the crash was going off, that Taylor like opened his mouth and like exhaled because that's what you would really do as that's about to happen to keep from getting really messed up. And
Mm-hmm.
he was the guy that was saying that. He was like, I love that. I love the fact that they took the time to put this little detail in there that only we're going
Yeah.
to notice, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's pretty fucking cool.
That is actually really cool. It's the small things the average person wouldn't realize that the sort of veterans and current operators would, which,
Mhm.
it's cool. It's cool to have shows that are aimed at, well, everyone, but you've got your target audience, because, veterans do deserve like their sort of shows. They can, like, imagine them going back and watching the A Team now.
Right.
So you film, like, as you said, you film in the real world on location. I'm gonna guess that presents so many challenges, especially when you film in something of this caliber.
A lot of yeah, a lot of logistics and location stuff. It's especially being in a foreign country where we don't know all the rules and all the comings and goings and what's going on. So a lot of it, we'd lose locations sometimes, be like, the heck happened there? A couple of days later, okay, we got it back. It's and language barrier was definitely a fun one, but it actually was kind of fun just listening to everyone and trying to pick up words here and there. So it was to me a nice challenge being in a foreign environment, not hearing English hardly at all, except for we definitely want a lot of English so we can understand during safety sequences. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just getting out there and learning new things.
That is one of the major complicating factors of the terminal list is our determination to shoot on location.
Hmm.
And it's a logistics nightmare. But I think going back to Tom's point earlier in the podcast, where this show is a family and we're all working so well with each other, collaborating with each department and proactively collaborating. As soon as we hear a piece of information that concerns costumes or the set design or something, we go to them directly and we collaborate and we're putting out fires before they happen. And I think that it only ran as smoothly as it did because of how much we all liked each other.
100%.
Um, it hasn't happened yet. Um, so if we need to hold this, we can. Like I can like push a bit. But one of my like I got like two favorite like really like hyped up episodes that like had me fucking clearing the house. I was all, giving it heaps of like the TV remote and everything. I was hyped up. So there was like the the airplane sequence. We was involved
Mhm.
in that.
Yeah,
That was
that was
mostly Tom, but yes.
yeah,
Ah,
that
Tom,
was.
walk me
I'm
through
not.
that.
I'm not gonna say too much about it. It's in some of the trailers, but yeah, that was a lot of that. Honestly, I think it's as dynamic and beautiful as it is because of Paul, our director. So Paul
Yeah.
Cameron comes from a DP background, and he and David Stockton, who is our DP, are just geniuses with camera and lighting. And there's one spot in the trailer. It was honestly my favorite shot out there when you see Taylor and Luke and Dar advancing on the plane, and Luke goes for a mag change, and there's like a flare from the sun because you
Yeah.
see the sun off in the distance, and just the whole way it was set up. I agree. It's one of my favorite sequences in the show.
And massive shout out to our armorers, Mike and Gary,
Hmm.
for bringing the guns and always keeping us safe, and our special effects team, the Phoenix guys. They just each added so much to that sequence.
Because there's, as you saw, and as everyone else will see next week, there is a lot of gunfire in that sequence.
It's unreal. It's one of them scenes that sticks with you. Like
Yeah.
it starts out as like a will they, won't they moment,
Yep.
and then the other that stuck out to me. So I'm gonna tread really carefully here. Like really carefully as if I'm on hot coals or something. So
Please
like
do.
the finale,
Mhm.
fuck, that was an opening. Like
it
after
was it
you
was
said you like
insane.
work with people for realism, I'm like, it's like Rambo on crack. It's
Yeah.
oh, it's
I,
unreal.
I I'm not gonna say hardly anything about it. I will say I can't wait for people to watch it.
Yeah.
Taylor is balls to the wall in that whole sequence. And we had multiple units running that whole time concurrently. Chris and I are literally running back and forth between the two units nonstop, like every day, because we were each responsible for different things. So we're in community, and cell phones didn't work out there. So we're like literally sending our assistant back and forth to like say what's going on, who's needed where, and they were far apart. So we're like hopping in vehicles and like driving past each other, waving and going to the other units, and it was madness, but all in the absolute best way. And it was an amazing way to finish the show.
Really excited for people to see the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it fair to assume or say that Chris, you had a small role in it?
I had a small role in it.
Yeah.
Uh, did
Like
I have a small?
on screen, maybe?
I don't
I don't
know.
think I did. No,
No.
no, that was
If I
probably Chris
talk about
Pratt.
my point, I'll give away
I
anything
think
of the finale.
he's trying to needle you for someone else coming in.
Yeah.
Your your guy.
Oh,
Tom's on the
yeah. I don't
money.
know.
Yeah.
No. Uh,
No?
Excited for people to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So where we're at now, we're at episode 5. So we've got 1 to 5 on the go. So for you so far, where we've got to, what was the most complex sort of action sequence stunt to get right, or the one that you're like, this one's going to be a bit tough?
Yeah, I think there was a section. in episode 4 to 5. Honestly, from 4 onward, uh, I think the hardest part was we had all these major set pieces, major action set pieces that were coming up just rapid fire one after another, and just pulling that all together, getting the resources we need, and just the brain power to focus on one at a time. That was really difficult, just because they were almost one on top of each other, and it really just speaks well to how Thom and I were work together and able to collaborate, that we were able to get that done.
Yeah, there were a lot of nights after we wrap where we'd go get some food or smoke cigars and sit there and game plan, and it was
Yeah,
nonstop. It was really nonstop.
nonstop.
But it was the beautiful thing. Europe, the European Union has a 10-hour work law. So thankfully, we weren't doing like 12, 16-hour days. We'd
That's good.
finish, and both of our families were there a bunch, so we'd get to have family time, but we'd actually have the time to sit down, look at our notes, see what's coming up, and make sure we had all of our ducks in a row.
That's unreal. It's really rare you get that as well, especially in your line of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really leaned hard on Thom. Like Thom, I give the MVP award to, keeping all those ducks in a row. Incredible work, brother.
No, thanks. My brain hurts sometimes, but it gets there.
So you guys were on set. So two of my main questions that I always I'm like, when watching Dark Wolf, is Taylor cool? He seems like a really cool guy.
One of the
He's
coolest.
way more than cool. He's
Yeah.
the coolest.
Yeah. Easily approachable, hangs out with everyone. He's not, he doesn't go out, run off. I mean, we went to hockey games, we're all going to dinner. That's one of the beauties about going on a location like this. And I just saw an interview with Taylor and Tom Hopper talking about this. We're all going to the go-kart tracks together, playing handball, going to Luke Hemsworth and his family came over, and my family was there. My 3 kids and his 3 kids were all like the same age, so we're all out hanging out together. And Taylor was the same way. He'd be like, "Hey man, we're gonna go to dinner. What are you doing?" And just a chill dude and extremely collaborative on set.
Very
And
professional.
knows his character, knows where he wants it to go, and comes up with phenomenal ideas for his character too.
And one of my
Would have been a different show without him, for sure.
Yeah.
I really think he does embody the character of Ben Edwards.
Mhm.
And from the books, Ben's he's unlikable, but Taylor's
Yeah.
made him like such a nice character. Even when he's sort of meant to be going on his downward sort of spiral, you're still rooting for him.
He's so good as an actor and as this character that they made an entire spin-off based on his character, you
Yeah.
know?
It's exactly what happened is he was so good in the show that Chris Pratt and Jack Carr were talking about it and they were like, that's our next show right there. Because he was so beloved. In fact, I'll tell you a funny little story. He's my mom's favorite character on the first season of the main show. She hasn't seen the finale yet, so she does not know how things end between Reese and Ben. I can't wait till she sees that. She,
Oh
she's gonna get
no.
she's gonna get so mad. So we're out in Budapest, and I told him, I go, hey, you're my mom's favorite character on the show. She calls you Mr. Cutie Pie. And without missing a beat, Taylor looks at me and he goes, she's single? I go, yeah, my dad died 3 years ago. He was all right. So that's the kind of dude he is.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Um, so
Dating now.
Yeah. Dad?
I think it's really, really cool as well that Chris Pratt 100% supports the show. That
You
elevates it
know,
so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I when people ask me about Chris Pratt, the first word that comes to my mind is leader. He embodies leadership so well, and I sometimes take that for granted, just because I've been working with him for so long that I'm mostly on Chris Pratt shows. I forget what it's like to not be on a Chris Pratt show, because the number one on the call sheet, the big star, always brings their own unique energy to set. And with Chris, he's always setting that energy high. He's setting the professionalism very high. He's always deeply engaged in what we're doing and bringing such positive energy that it just, nobody can be cooler than number one on the call sheet. So he just brings everybody up with him.
Yeah.
And it's such an incredible thing to witness that Terminal List would not be what it is without him. The family dynamic of the show would not be what it is without him. Really incredible, and I give him a lot of props for helping to build that out.
And see, when you guys were on set, is there talks of like this, like Dark Wolf and the Terminal List sort of being stepping stones? So like next we'll have Terminal List season 2, then we'll have Dark Wolf season 2, and so forth. Is that the plan, or are they planning just to sort of do a one and done?
We are
No,
working on Terminal List season 2 right now, and looking forward to the announcement of Dark Wolf season 2.
Well, if it doesn't get renewed, I'll be shocked, like, because
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
we will be
brilliant.
too.
Are you both on Terminal List season 2?
I'm not. Chris is out there.
yeah. I'm just doubling on Terminal List season 2, and Tom's working in the States right now.
So can you tell us anything about Terminal List season 2? Does it up the ante of like the first one? Have we got like more action, more suspense?
It's badass,
That's good.
and the fans are going to be very happy.
So you've sort of answered the question. You're currently filming season 2 of the Terminal List. So Tom, what are you currently working on at the moment?
I just started prep. I was working on another movie, and I just started prep right now for a heist movie. That's you know who Theo Rossi is, actor.
Yes.
So it's his first time directing. He got a directorial gig on this, and Theo's an old. I've known Theo for 25 years, old friends. So he called me up, told me about this awesome news, and I'm going to be out second unit directing and coordinating with him here starting on Monday.
Brilliant.
Hmm.
So you're both keeping busy. So hopefully I can get you both back here for Dark Wolf season 2. Hopefully Chris Terminal List season 2, me and you. Um Tom, don't be a stranger to Action Reloaded.
I will
And
not.
Chris, in case, right? Just in case. I hear Steven Seagal has a new movie coming out soon. Um,
It's amazing.
you know, just in case anything's drying up.
Yeah, maybe I'll go hop on it. I don't know.
No,
Now, guys, keep up the good work. Use delivering unbeatable action. You've definitely upped the game. Dark Wolf is perfection of TV. You guys should be proud what you do deliver, because I often find the work you guys do just it gets swept under the rug. So props to what you do. Yous are the badasses that bring these high octane shows to life, and keep doing it, man. Yous are brilliant.
thank you so
Thank,
much.
thank
Really
you.
appreciate that, Jeff.
And thank you as well for your time this evening. It has been awesome, and hopefully this is the first of many chats.
Absolutely. Thank you for your hospitality.
No worries. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jeff.
And thank you, Stephanie, for setting this up.